Testing my microphone. There we go. Hello, everybody. We'll be getting started soon, very shortly. 2, 1, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's show. Thank you so much to Jeremy. Bobby, keep sending messages twice. I think it's hysterical when they're just, especially in the context. Do they? I thought that was very funny. Jeremy, Gray Monad, Bobby, and that's it for now. Thank you guys all for sticking by, stopping in early. We're going to be going through some Borderlands 4. We're going to be going through Intergalactic, which is interesting because Holly, I didn't think you'd be excited to talk about that one at all. I genuinely thought you'd be like, Neil Druckmann,
Sorry, my internet wonked for a second. It went, and then it came back with, oh, I didn't think you'd want to talk about that. So, what?
I really didn't think you'd want to talk about Intergalactic, but I'm happy that you did. You do. Because I thought you were just done with Neil Druckmann. I was like... She's frozen.
Yeah, interested in it. Yeah. Okay,
you froze, but I heard that you're interested in it, so I'm going to go with that.
Yes.
Then we're also going to be going over some Wolfenstein 3, which I'm very excited about too. And then, of course, wherever the discussion with chat goes, this is very freeform, light week, in my opinion. So we'll be going with that. But first and foremost, there's been a lot going on in sort of the world, not just in gaming, but I'm sure most of you know about Charlie Kirk and everything that happened there. And of course, today is September 11th, so I did want to just sort of give a moment of silence for everything going on, especially for the victims of 9/11, something that has impacted me personally. So wanted to give just a little bit of a moment of silence, just like 30 seconds or so at least. And if you guys would, I would be honored if all of you watching from home would join for just a bit. Alright, thank you everybody for joining me in that. And of course, heart goes out to everybody who's been impacted on this day, and just, all the survivors of it, all the victims of it, and of course everything else going on. Violence is never the answer. Don't want to dwell too long on that because want to try to bring some joy to all of you watching in otherwise troubling times. That's why we're here tonight. So thank you guys for joining us. I will say, just to turn it around a little bit, I have been having a buttload of fun with games specifically over the past week or two. I've jumped back into Chivalry 2 for the first time in a while, and it's been fantastic. Sip that wine! Mm-hmm. Is that a plastic cup?
Wine day. No.
Okay.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
I needed a little liquid.
Enjoy your liquid. Hopped into a little bit of Chivalry. Chivalry is still super, super, super fun. I've been playing plenty of Skyrim as well, and I'm just about to jump into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle to enjoy some of that DLC. And then we also have, just in general, in gaming, we've had a fantastic week with the successful release of Silksong coming in $20 price point, which was very, very fun. And it sold incredibly well. People are upset at the difficulty, but to that I say, get good. Not actually. I don't know. I think it might have actually been a problem for some people, but listen, yeah.
I have some friends that I board game with on Wednesday nights, and I talked to them last night, and they're pretty good gamers. Like their professional life is around gaming, and one of them was like, they were really excited for Silksong, And last night, one of them, the one who started it was like, I'm just about to give up on this game. Like, he's like, it's just too hard. There's just too much difficulty in it. He's like, you know, kind of explaining a little of the frustrations that he had in not necessarily even like bosses, but just like combat in general. So I found that really interesting. Yeah.
My audio input is on the wrong one. Thank you for letting me know. I should be on the right one now. Don't know why that would have auto-switched, but thank you. Welcome, Red! How's my two favorite content creators today? How are all of my favorite viewers doing today? I hope well. Yeah, Silksong. I read an article from somebody. I haven't jumped into it myself, but I read an article from someone who was like, listen, just stick with it, because once you get to the next act, it just gets easier. Or like a second part of the game, I don't know. It all just sort of unfolds in an easier way, but you gotta get through the first jump in the game has been really, really difficult for a lot of folks. But hey, I think that's kind of what you sign up for a little bit when you play that type of game.
It's like when you go to college and they make all of the entry level, like the first year classes ridiculously hard so they can weed out all of the people who can't cut the mustard, and then they like wind up with like MBAs or something instead of what they like started in. And so at least that's happened in engineering a lot. Like the first year, like it was just too hard for some people, and then they would go and get like a fashion degree or something completely, like,
or even worse,
you know?
Communications.
There you go. That's another one. Yep.
That was my degree, by the way, so I can insult it because that's what I graduated with.
There's a spot for everybody, okay? Hi, Fark. Long time no see. Yes.
Fark! Welcome. Probably won't be around for long. Internet keeps dropping out, but I will enjoy what I can. Thank you so much for stopping by tonight. Yes, and let's give it a show. Let's give you a show for what you can stand by for. What are you most interested in?
Let's talk about Intergalactic.
Okay. Beautiful. Intergalactic.
Yeah.
It's interplanetary. Yeah. It's fantastic. All right, so Intergalactic has had, I think, some exciting news, because I'm still a fan of Neil Druckmann even after The Last of Us 2, which was a good game, and it was a great story, but it's a good game. You can make your faces over there. I'm not going to look. I'm blocking your part of the screen while I say this. Intergalactic has gotten some exciting news. Neil Druckmann sat down and did an interview.
Visually make those words like involuntarily make me cringe.
I could feel it. I could feel it from here. We're not getting. I'm not. I was like, do I entertain the conversation of why it's good? I'm not.
We can go. We can go. No, that's gonna be the whole show, though.
That's gonna be the whole show. We're not doing that tonight. Neil Druckmann over at Naughty Dog. Intergalactic, the heretic prophet. I always forget that tagline. Stop me if there's something specifically that I'm going to go through. Shinobi tweeted out a beautiful, as he always does, kind of synopsis of the information. If there's something that stands out, just be like, and I will stop going. And we could dive into it. But he started off with saying the team is firing on all cylinders. It is the most expansive game that Naughty Dog has ever made. Maybe it's the most expensive. Troy Baker is confirmed to have a role in the game. Tatiana Gabrielle. Oh, yep.
As to say, of course he is. He's in everything lately.
Yeah.
I love Troy Baker. I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying, like, I think that because he is as good as he is, don't you think the price tag just for him alone is... It's...
I always wonder about that type of thing.
Crazy.
I always wonder about that type of thing. But I wonder in the sense of, we'll never know the official numbers, right, of what that man's getting paid. I know it's beautiful sum for him, and well deserved, because he's as talented as he is, but I wonder if he's sort of willing to go in at a lower rate because he has a history with Naughty Dog, and he might be like, hey, listen, I like working with you, Neil Druckmann, I like working with Naughty Dog games, so the cost,
But
instead of 20 million, I'm only gonna charge 18 million this time.
Well, I also think that he probably knows, like, this is, like, I'm well respected in this industry, so I can charge enough, but I don't want to price myself out of being well known, right? So,
right, yeah.
Like, I always want to work, I want to keep working, so I'll be pricey, but you can still probably afford me, right? Especially with like Ben Starr and other people really starting to get big names too. Yeah.
And the other thing is there is now Naughty Dog wouldn't qualify for it, but there was with Sandfall when they were getting like everyone was like, how are they getting what's his name? What?
Ben Starr? Ben Starr?
Well, Ben Starr was one of them, but that's not who I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of
the Daredevil guy.
Andy. Well, yeah, but Andy Serkis. I was thinking of Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis too.
Like,
yes,
the Daredevil as well. How do they afford these talent? Because actually, there's this really interesting thing where within the voice actors union, within that union, they get specific contracts where if a studio only has X amount of budget, the union will I don't know if they pay the difference or how exactly it works, but they make sure that these smaller studios can afford to hire that talent. So they only have to pay if the normal rate for Andy Serkis is, let's just say, $5 million a project, right, for him to work on to do voice acting for this role. It's like, well, they only have to pay actually $250,000, right? It's not that dramatic of a diff, but that way they can afford to hire this big talent, which is actually pretty interesting to me. I think that's kind of cool.
Then it is, but also then how did the union get funded to do that financial assistance gap?
I wonder if they don't take as much themselves. Would be probably a big hearty chunk of it.
Or it's like publishers pay annual fees or something like that to the unions for the contracts and things. Plus they always they could always just offer an actor some stipend, but then also like a percentage of profit or something, which is a little more of a gamble, but it could also very much pay off, right?
And honestly, I wonder how much of it does maybe come down to things like tax write-offs too. Like, it's, you're almost donating your voice at that point for in some regard. They're still getting paid. So there's a lot of interesting caveats to it, which I find that side of the industry, as dark as I think whether it's Hollywood or voice acting can kind of get when you see the seedy underbelly of all of it and all how the strings get pulled. There's some like cool little bright spots like that do exist there. So Troy Baker will be making an appearance. Tatiana Gabrielle, who's the main character, Jordan, was cast alongside HBO's The Last of Us Season 2. And Neil Druckmann said, "We feel she's going to be very iconic and complex and interesting in the Naughty Dog tradition." I think any Naughty Dog protagonist gets that. I don't
know who I've blocked that game out of my mind as much as I possibly can, so I don't remember who Jordan is exactly. And of course, I didn't watch season 2, but I remember her specifically from the show You on Netflix. She was Marina. Her name started with an M. She was the one that
Marianne Bellamy.
Yes, and she's good in that show. Like she's a good actress. So
yeah,
she's got a lot of good personality for that character.
She played Nora in The Last of Us Season 2. So I know you haven't seen it, but for those of you watching from home, visiting friends I met in Thailand 10 years ago, says Fark. We holiday every day together in different country. This is my second visit to Idaho. I do what the locals do. Fishing. Welcome to Idaho. I would never think to go to Idaho, but eat a potato. I hate potatoes, but eat a potato for me. That's what they're known for. That's super cool. Andy Serkis has been a fan of video games ever since he spoke in Heavenly Sword. I didn't know that. That's some good trivia knowledge. Have you ever played Heavenly Sword? Do you know what that is?
No. Bobby Hawk also wrote that Troy Baker was in BioShock Infinite. Was he Booker?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was like... You didn't know that? That was like the role... I mean, you go listen to it. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, that is Troy Baker. Once you hear it, because he does the same voice.
Yeah, because I haven't played it in a while. I want to play that through again, but... Wow.
Yeah, that was the game that sort of kicked off a lot for him. Between that and there was definitely something in the middle, but then Arkham Origins when he played Joker. which
Okay.
was such a good performance. That was such a good performance.
Booker was good. Booker was a very good character.
Oh gosh, yeah. I think he was. I mean, as far as BioShock games, he was the best protagonist, but that's also because he had an actual personality, unlike BioShock 1 and
2 don't really. Yeah.
They're just a vessel for you to experience the game through.
But that's the story, right?
Yeah.
Like that's part of the story, right? Yeah.
Help around my friend's property and relax by the river at the bottom of their garden. Okay, I'm not sure what that's about. Oh, Bobby brought up potatoes. Awesome. I think they harvest, but they're talking about potatoes. Okay, you guys keep enjoying potatoes and air fryers. So what's going on in chat? So, other things. Tony Dalton is also cast after his performance in HBO show. I don't know what role. Do you know Tony Dalton?
I'll look it up because that
look it
name
up.
is very familiar. I will look it up. Go ahead.
Now here's the interesting thing, and I think there's an entire conversation to be had. I could have made a
Oh, it's that guy.
give me a hint.
Sorry. Yeah. He was in Breaking Bad.
Nope, haven't seen it.
Better Call Saul.
Haven't seen it.
Fucking hell. So for everybody who has seen that, which is like literally everybody else on the planet except you, he is Lalo Salamanca in Better Call Saul. Mostly in Better Call Saul. The crazy, well, they're all crazy, right? But he was the cousin of the Don, or like the cartel boss. And he was very, very smart. He was very, very crazy.
So we like Tony Dalton.
Very good actor. Very good character.
Okay.
He's an older guy. He's 50, 51, something like that. Yeah.
Hey, as long as he has the voice, it's like J.K. Simmons doing Omni-Man in Invincible. Does a phenomenal job. He's older though. Age don't matter. Age just a number, baby. So Tony Dalton's also going to be in it. This is the interesting part, and you could do a whole show on this, which I think it's an interesting topic personally, but just sort of how... Hey, Monad! High five! He hasn't seen it either. So, there we go. I'm not...
Well, then you two should have a viewing party and get caught up, because that is a cultural phenomena of our generation.
So, I mean, so is Game of Thrones, but I haven't seen that either.
It's not... Game of Thrones isn't nearly as good as Better Call Saul or...
But culturally
Breaking Bad.
significant.
Eh.
Just like The Last of Us 2, very culturally significant. And Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. So, I think you could have an entire conversation around...
He said hell no.
I think you could have an entire... a conversation around the idea of films getting involved in the gaming industry. Because I watched a very interesting video a while back that basically talked about what's sort of... I think it was Film Theory, actually, that discussed it. What's the next step about for Hollywood? Because they follow trends, and it was for a long time it was comic book adaptations. Then they kind of went through the reboot, especially Disney went through the reboot phase. Pixar's still doing it too a bit, and the live action phase, and now they're looking towards gaming, right? So they always tries to follow where the trend is going in Hollywood. At the moment, it's gaming. So, of course, we've had plenty of things from Sonic to Fallout to The Last of Us to the Mario movie to Minecraft and plenty of others that are out there. Todd Howard had been pitched multiple times for an Elder Scrolls TV show as well that he declined.
Well, don't forget too, right? Like, gaming is easy for them because the source material is already there. It's not new.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's already a huge step forward, right? Because the story is there. If you want to adapt it directly or if you want to play with it a little bit is kind of the choice. But like the world is built, the characters are built, like a lot of the legwork's done.
Yeah, it's like pulling, it's exactly like pulling from a book, but I would argue that you actually have, because of the nature of games being an interactive medium, you actually have a much more expansive world to pull from. And
it's easier because you have the visual interpretation to fall back on too,
right?
Instead of having to come up with your own that people will pick up on, right?
Yeah, so it is, and on top of that, it's a much more profitable market to try to tap into because gaming is the biggest. This has been said tons of times before, but gaming is the biggest entertainment medium above film, TV, books, all that. Gaming is the most profitable, and it has the largest audience. So when these studios are looking, okay, what are we going to do next? That's why we're getting like the God of War show is another, Mass Effect show is another. It does worry me though, because it's something that's so easy for these studios to just license out their IPs, and not that it necessarily will affect the games. I mean, you have the Borderlands movie came out, was absolutely terrible. I think Randy Pitchford he was defending that movie for a long time after it came out, but terrible. And now, and we'll be talking a little bit about later, but now Borderlands 4 has over 200,000 players on Steam, and it just released today, which is the Borderlands 3 peaked at 98,000, I believe it was 98 and change. So, or I'm sorry, 98,000. So, the success or failure of these shows doesn't, and the film side of things does not necessarily impact, at least for now, what the games will do. However, I get worried because I don't necessarily like to see the watering down of all these IPs.
I think it makes me very nervous when you see Hollywood take a game and say, I can do that.
We're losing you a bit.
What? Ah!
Hello!
There.
Holly said before she started the stream that she turned on her AC, so I think the AC is, the air conditioning is draining her internet, would be my assumption of what's happening at the moment. Okay, so while Holly's there as a massive blurry blob, thank you everybody for liking. Yeah, she's disappearing into the Twilight Zone. She's going into some kind of Alan Wake universe, Remedy universe over there. I've argued that the reason Fallout was so successful was because there's no legacy characters in narrative, only legacy locations. 100% agree, that is the right way to do it. Even when they're doing certain IPs you can't do that with, right? God of War, how do you do God of War without Kratos? You can't. You could do a side story with Kratos, but I think a lot of viewers would have a hard time watching that just because the nature of the adaptation with God of War being as narrative and story driven as it is. I will say that The Last of Us, I think, would have been a lot better. I don't know what you all think in chat, what you all think about The Last of Us TV show. I thought it was pretty bad. Like, it had its moments. Season 1 was great. Season 2... I don't even know if I finished Season 2, actually. No, I did. Season 2 really didn't do much for me. And that was largely because I thought it would just be more interesting to focus on the story I haven't seen already, right? I already played through the games, given I'm not necessarily the target audience. The target audience is people who don't really play video games to come in, see it, and then maybe they're like, oh, it's a game, I could try that out. So there you go. All right, now I'm just going to hang out widescreen mode with all of you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Other things for Intergalactic. This is probably the most interesting part, which is the gameplay. The gameplay, he said Uncharted was realistic, character-driven action game. Where am I reading? Uncharted was realistic, character-driven action game with emotional storytelling. The Last of Us added RPG elements and wide linear design. Continue that trajectory forward, add sci-fi, and you get the sense of what we're doing. And then we've gotten even more ambitious than that. So it almost makes me think that the most likely situation we're going to see with Intergalactic is a semi-open world, right? Because you went from very linear with Uncharted to these minor areas that were open to now I think you're going to really have the ability to pick and choose what planets you go to explore, Mass Effect 3 style or Mass Effect 2 style. And then you're going to have, I would assume, very similar level design to what The Last of Us 2 did, where there's these big environments that you can land on and then sort of go off and explore. I think that's a really cool situation to be in, right? Because you're sort of getting the Naughty Dog exploration and gameplay that I personally really loved. Even if you hated The Last of Us 2 story, I think a lot of people thought the gameplay was at least fun, that side of it, like scavenging for supplies and going into houses and going through all the levels and entering the shops and seeing all that stuff. I think most people would hopefully agree that that part was good. I say hopefully because obviously I'm a fan of that side of The Last of Us 2. With Intergalactic, I think it would be really neat to see that in a sci-fi setting, but then you're actually picking and choosing. And ideally, if The Last of Us added RPG elements, ideally Intergalactic would add some choice and consequence to the story, right? Because when he says continue that trajectory forward, if you're going from action game, RPG elements, my next thing is how do we influence a story rather than it just being completely a linear tale. And it doesn't have to be this massively expansive sort of Baldur's Gate style choice and consequence and dialogue trees and all of these other aspects, right? I don't think that's a necessity. But rather, if it just focused on giving a couple endings here and there. Hey, you decided to go off to this planet instead of that planet. Therefore, you're going to have slightly different story bits. That, to me, would sort of be a cool direction to go in. And we are back in Discord, ladies and gentlemen. Give me 1 second here. As I try to just sort of get my camera up and going. It seems Holly is having some technical issues, which is fine. Things happen. Anyway, I'm gonna go through chat. Definitely Last of Us 1 had a better scene with Sarah dying than in the TV show. I would agree. There were a lot of things in the show that I didn't necessarily like. I didn't like the way they did Tess's death as much. What's in the background? That is Skyrim, and you can see a Spriggan walking around now that the screen is a little bit more open. The TV show is alright, but I don't play the games. Yeah, and the games are better. It's like the Witcher TV show. The books and the games, infinitely better. The books especially, because that's what the show is based on for The Witcher. Definitely could be good. Yeah, definitely has an opportunity to be good. So, I don't know. What direction do you think? Do you think for the Intergalactic, do you think it's just going to be sort of an open world? Do you think it's going to be choice and consequence? When they say continue that trajectory forward, I'm curious to know what you guys think as far as the direction that the game is going to go in. I'm excited for it, though. I'm excited for it. What I'm not excited for is all the product placement that was there. That's the one thing that I think of when I think about what I remember about the Intergalactic trailer. It was actually the amount of product placement that was in it, which, you know, maybe it takes a little bit of a backseat. If you buy it, you should totally stream. I'll watch. Thank you, Bobby. I would consider. I actually have thought about doing some more gameplay stuff on my other channel, the Let's Play channel that I have. So I would consider that. I would consider that for sure. Alright, so Intergalactic looks great. The big news this week is Borderlands 4 released on PC for some players today. The player count is astronomical. I watched several reviews of the game. So most people generally agree that the gameplay is great, the Vault Hunters are great. The story still doesn't reach... This is sort of your synopsis after I've watched maybe 4 or 5 different reviews for the game from different outlets. General synopsis is that gameplay is peak Borderlands. the customization and sort of the character progression that you could go down with the different skill trees was really, really cool as well. And on top of that, you also have a story that's not as good as Borderlands 2. I think most people found the antagonist not to be that great. Or, not, I should say not that great, but just not to the level of Handsome Jack. Which, to be fair, how do you really live up to that expectation? That's kind of a tough one, in my honest opinion, to really get a hold of. But still a good story, and definitely vastly superior to what happened in Borderlands 3. I just played Borderlands 3. Oh! Gameplay? Mwah! Chef's kiss. Fantastic. Story? Oh, God. Oh, God. So it's no wonder that there's most of the legacy characters for Borderlands 4 have been left behind. You have some like Zane and Claptrap and Amara. Some do return, and Moxie, of course. But a lot of them are gone, so there's a lot of new characters. Everybody hates those twins, Bobby. Everybody hates those twins. You're not unique. You're not special in that sense. I watched a couple reviews. Some people are very angry. Others are very excited. The whole powers do more damage than guns definitely makes me a bit worried. I feel as though the powers should do more damage than the guns, though, because the powers are what's unique, right? You want to feel, when you're using a power, you want to feel powerful. So I feel as though, and I've seen some combos, like I was watching, Dantix did a video before the review embargo lifted. He did a video where he was going through guides for each of the characters, and he was showing off some combos that were absolutely and utterly insane. We're seeing if we can get Holly back. Holly was going to be streaming as well, I believe, tonight. So after this stream, we can go over and hang out there too. I've seen people saying the game is buggy as hell. I haven't seen, the reviews that I have watched did not say anything about bugs. Now here is sort of the caveat, right? You have this really great Borderlands game, but it reinforces some of the problems with Epic Games and using Unreal. So yes, it is built in Unreal Engine, and Borderlands released today, very well critical reception. This is coming from PCGamer.com. Oh, Goody Gumdrops is right. It's a different situation. There's a whole lot of people are playing Borderlands 4, but the overall rating is mostly negative. Negatory over on Steam. And I'm going to try to get my screen up here. Just for a second. I would like to showcase exactly what is going on. So if you take a look, Steam.db. Let me pull these things around here. Let's see. Background. And we want that. Perfect. Make that a bit bigger. I'll let you guys see sort of how some of this stuff goes in real time. So, right, just moving some stuff around. Streaming is fun. Genuinely, I like doing this stuff. I find it very fun. But, so yeah, basically, Borderlands 4 over here, almost 200,000 players, but you'll see at the moment, it's a 52% positive rating. And most of the reviews, what they're citing, 52.8% positive reviews, 47.2% negative. And what they're citing specifically is performance issues. So, terrible performance, worst I've seen, Edico wrote in a negative review. Turned it down to low graphic, and couldn't hit 60 FPS even with FSR upscaling on a 6900 XT, which is a very powerful card. 30 FPS at native medium to high settings on 1440p with a 3080 Ti It also looks worse than Borderlands 3, to be honest. I don't know how it runs this bad. Our hardware tester Nick Evanson has experienced similar problems in his initial testing today, though he noted that a 2.7 gigabyte post-launch patch helped reduce the frequency of crashes. Not got rid of the crashes, right? Reduce the frequency. That was presumably the day one patch Randy Pitchford confirmed a few days ago, though it seemingly didn't appear until after the game went live. No indication on Borderlands 4 Steam page of a separate hotfix being rolled out. Even some positive reviews are down on the game's performance. One such thumbs up assessment states game is good, but performance is not. Frame gen plus DLSS almost mandatory if you do not have a 5090. So just overall, you know, some of the frustrating things where no matter what, these developers are relying and continuing to rely on having DLSS and frame generation in order to make the actual game work. And for those of you who have experience working with frame gen and DLSS, they do come with a lot of compromises that you may need to make, especially on the visual front. They're not these magical fix-all wonderful technologies that they're presented as. While they do definitely help, especially if you're playing on a lower end graphics card, the fact that you need to use it if you're not on a 5080, a 5090, that's pretty troublesome. And honestly, what I would say is this is exactly the reason why you do not pre-order. And it is a little bit disgusting, in my opinion. I'll be completely honest. I think it's a bit disgusting. I don't see more reviews talking about this side of it. There's reviews that mention it. Oh, the performance is kind of bad. I think Game Rant had it in theirs. But most reviews from these professional news outlets that I saw did not really mention issues with shader compiling, that even if you're just traveling between locations, you're getting shader compiling all the time. So that is a big shame. But it goes to show why you don't pre-order games. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Because that's how you get stuff like this. However, sales-wise, I think Randy Pitchford is very happy. Again, 200,000, almost 200,000 players, which Borderlands 3, only hit a peak of 98,000. Blew Borderlands 3 out of the water. Absolutely blew it. However, it's important to note, if you are trying to count, when you see those numbers, very important thing to note is that Borderlands 3 was an Epic Game Store exclusive, so it took a while before it went to Steam, and of course you're going to get some double dips, but that's not usually the majority, I think, in a lot of cases. People who wanted to play it, bought it on Epic, have it on Epic, and that's where they're going to go off and play the game. So that definitely did play an impact there. Borderlands 3 was, up until Borderlands 4, the most successful Borderlands game. I think they said it sold 3 times more than Borderlands 2, even with its Epic exclusivity. So keep that in mind. Welcome, Influent. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by today. Bummer, since most reviews I skimmed through were generally positive. That's the thing, right? Is we just need to, you need to wait for day one patches and performance patches and all of that stuff. So once those roll out, maybe in a month when the game's more stable, possibly 2 months, depends. There's definitely going to be a hotfix releasing. So, yikes. That happens when I talk too fast, actually. I start to yawn because I don't get enough air because I'm not breathing properly. So it's a sign for me to slow down my talking. It happens when I try to record videos too. But yeah, essentially in this month, I'm sure we can expect a hotfix. After that, who knows? And even then, how much that will actually help remains to be seen, because you can go back to, for example, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That game had months of performance. You know, they took a while to get those performance fixes out. And even still, there's moments where that game, and I just beat it recently. I just went through and played Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. And there are a lot of moments where that game just really poo-poos on the performance. Another guy that talked about having issues with it, he says his graphics card was burning almost. Ugh. Yikes. Yeah, it's not okay. It's not okay. Silksong has got a grip on me. It's amazing. And Fluent, we were talking about that a little bit when the show started. What do you think about the difficulty? Because that's what I've heard is the biggest complaint for a lot of people. But once you get through some of the levels of difficulty, it actually does get easier. Once you get through sort of the first stage of the game, is what I've heard. I'm going to be playing Hollow Knight. I feel like I need to play that first. Hollow Knight. I feel like if I were to play that, I need to play the first one and then play Silksong. Even though you don't need to at all. It's like a Kingdom Come situation. You could go in and play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Does anybody else like that? Where if there is a game that comes before, you're just like, I need to play it. I need to play the first one. Alright, here. We're going to do a little switcheroo. 1 second here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, can't do it that way. Roger, roger. We're just going to do that and that, and we're gonna do that and okay.
That's, yeah.
Beautiful. Easy peasy.
Hello.
Welcome back. Holly's alive! She lives!
Yes. Yes. Still having problems, but we shan't talk about it.
Yeah, that damn dirty air conditioner. It's draining your internet.
It's no.
Just make the room a hot box. Just turn it back off.
Oh, that's too late. It's I don't know. I got this like, oh, I'm an amazing upgraded extender. It's so much better, and I was like, cool. And when it works, it is better. But it just decides not to work randomly, and here we are. And I still can't get it to work again. So cool.
I cannot recommend enough getting a wire. Plug it in.
Problem is,
plug it in.
The problem is the router is downstairs and I am upstairs.
Longer wire.
Yeah. They make just wrap it down the hall, up the stairs.
They make 50-foot cords. Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna need a bigger boat. It's not enough.
They make 100-feet cords.
What? I legitimately don't know how long I would need, but I don't think 50 is gonna cut the mustard.
Welcome, King Styles. Thank you so much for stopping by. To be honest, I'm in Act 1, but it's definitely more difficult than Hollow Knight, especially early on. I don't mind the level it is at. It's challenging but fair. That's good. I've heard a lot of people frustrated with the difficulty, but I'm glad that you're enjoying it, Fluent, because I know I have personal friends who are playing it too that are obsessed with Hollow Knight and they're loving it and they actually really like the difficulty of it, because they are veterans of the original, right? So I'm curious if that is playing into some people's experience, but I've heard that even folks who played Hollow Knight are looking at Silksong going, ooh. So the world is alive though, and the movement is incredible. That's something that's always fascinated me about these side-scrolling platformer games is it seems like it would be hard to get movement wrong, especially when they've existed for as long as they have, right? But sometimes they can. I can't think of an example. Like even Prince of Persia released that side-scrolling Prince of Persia game, and they had very good movement in it. Obviously, Ori and the Blind Forest was done really well. Hollow Knight was done really well. Super Meat Boy, because these games revolve around that mechanic. If they don't get the movement right, ugh. I don't know, maybe Influent, if you play a lot of those types of platformers, maybe you have an example where you're like, I was just talking, Holly, when you joined back, I was basically just saying, Hollow Knight is really, really great. Borderlands 4, sorry. Borderlands 4, really, really great. Performance, poo-poo. Is that stopping you from trying it out? because people are saying I have a 5090 and I need to have like frame gen and DLSS and.
Which is crazy because they said the recommended specs was like a 3080, right?
Yep.
So
not true. Well, it's recommended because you can turn on DLSS and frame gen.
Yeah, but I have a 4080, so I should be even better. I should need less of the things. Right? No, I lived through Mafia the Old Country, so nothing scares me anymore. I will play it.
Did you see Angry Joe's review of that?
Yes, I watched it, and everything he said was everything I was saying. Literally everything. I was sitting and watching, because I had finished the game when his review came out. And I was sitting there, like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, where he's like this on the couch. And I was like, that's it. That's it.
That was hey, I need you to take care of him. I take care of him. No, not like that. I take care of him. Yeah, I know. I'll whack him off. I whack him off. That was what it was. I whack him off a bus. No, you don't whack him off. That is not what I mean.
So good. Look, Angry Joe, I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff, but man, his reviews are just, they're so good. Like, I either very wholeheartedly agree with him or I don't agree with him at all. But either way, there's a lot of entertainment value in it. So
you better watch your back. I don't know why the boss wants me to watch my back. Oh, it's bloody brilliant.
So good. So good.
So is this gonna stop you from play? Like, would you wait for, or are you just too excited? You're like, no, I'm jumping in. Game looks fun. I've heard like people are enjoying it.
I'm not like ridiculously excited for it, but I know people who will be playing it, right? And so hopefully, would like to play campaign co-op, right? Be kind of fun.
As it's meant.
Yes. Although I am also one who very much likes to do side stuff and look around and all that stuff. And some of the people that yes, I like touching the buttons. Give me all the buttons. But some of the people that I do play with, Cold Eastwood, like does not like to go and like explore and do all of the stuff. They're like, oh, let's go to the thing. And I'm like, but there's this area over here we didn't walk through, right? And it's like, they're already gone. So I'm like, trying to catch up. And I was like, it's cool. It's cool. But sometimes I wonder, like, big games that just have total exploration and all that stuff, as much as I love campaign co-op, sometimes those games are a little more fun when you're alone because you don't feel any pressure to like calm down, go do, like run or stick with the group, right? So, but I'm not complaining because it's wonderful to have friends to play things with.
It's good to have friends. Influence going for walks. Enjoy your walk, Influence. I did that today. I did 4 miles, which was so nice. I'm going to be playing it for myself soon. It probably says name drop. Your name drop in Colt Eastwood. He deserves it for playing like a loser! No, I'm just kidding. I do the same thing. Although I will say in Borderlands 3, now this one is a lot more, I think it's a lot more exploration focused because they are obviously going to a full open world. Borderlands 3 really annoyed me in the sense that there didn't really feel as though there were kind of optional locations to go. Did you play through Borderlands 3?
I did not finish it, but I did play most of it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird. Like the way I didn't like the back and forth to the ship all the time because I didn't feel like the fast travel system is not intuitive in that one. And it was just, I don't know. And then like you go to the planet and you're right. Like, well, no, I just have to go over here and do this thing. And then I have to go right back. And some areas are locked off. And I don't know. Yeah.
And even when you get to those areas, it's that every point of interest on the map had something quest related to it. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to spend time unless I wanted to grind to get level or experience or whatever. I'm not going to go over there because I know I'm probably going to pick up a quest that's going to take me over there, and otherwise all I'm doing is shooting enemies. And that was...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like you two play that SWAT game.
Oh, well, yeah. Pretty much. Listen. You could blame Holly for that because we were making her.
I lived the whole time. I lived the longest.
Because she's somewhere in the back. And I actually don't know where you go in that game. We just know we're waiting for orders, and then Holly's like, "Oh yeah, no, come over this way." And Zach and I are like, "Okay."
You got it, boss. Yeah, that's right.
Yep. That is a really fun game though. Really fun game.
Oh, I love Ready or Not.
So last thing really quick, is Wolfenstein 3. I'm excited for Wolfenstein 3. You're excited for Wolfenstein 3, right? I'm not, yeah.
Extremely, yes.
Extremely. Would you say that's one of your favorite first-person shooters?
Yes.
Where does it rank in relation to Doom?
Oh, that's like choosing between your children. Oh gosh, I don't even want to say. Definitely. Okay. Definitely, Wolfenstein 1 and 2 are better than Doom 2016. No question.
Okay.
Eternal and Dark Ages. That's an even fight with Wolfenstein 1 and 2. And I'm talking about the new 1 and 2, you know, not like, what is it, Old Blood. We're not talking about Young Blood, right? We're talking about... And it's crazy to me because I see a lot of people complain about Wolfenstein 2. The new I think that's the new Colossus, right?
Yes.
I see a lot of people complain about that one. I was like, I think that was fantastic. Like, I loved it. Like,
I have certainly complaints with it. I loved it, but... That's
okay.
You couldn't stealth anywhere because the guys would detect you from 1,000 feet away, and then they would set the alarm off, and then you're like, well, I guess I'm just shooting everybody, which is Wolfenstein, so I guess that's fine, right? But you think you're playing smart.
Don't pretend like I can stealth if you can't stealth.
If you're just gonna, so I mean, that was a big issue. The ending, the game just, and Red and I have talked about this, the game just goes, all right, credits, and you're like, wait, hold on, what?
Yeah.
So that was a big complaint. And also, there was a thing about it. I felt like the shooting felt better in Wolfenstein 1.
Okay. It's been a while since I played it to remember that level of detail. So I couldn't say. It's
different in Wolfenstein 2. It's not better or worse, in my opinion. It's just different. And I preferred it in Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein 1 almost felt like more simplistic, like the shooting was not as over the top, I guess. And it felt a little bit more rigid, but I kind of liked it better.
Bobby says it's because in Wolfenstein 1 you can pull out 2 guns.
You could do that in Wolfenstein 2.
So
in fact, in Wolfenstein 2 they let you pull out 2 different guns. In Wolfenstein 1 you could only pull out 2 of the same.
Yeah. You know what I wish would be an overhaul in Wolfenstein The Next Blood is Blood. I would like for them to do a different upgrade system for your guns. I feel like it's a little understated. I feel like it's a little like not very well thought out in modern gaming, right? Like in 2015, I'm sure it was, right on par with everything going on. But I would like to see something a little more either intricate or more exciting, or where you feel like value in. Of course, you get value in upgrading them in the main game because of, they work better. But like the system that they had with the different like material types, or like, like they had like the 3 types, right? And you could pump a bunch of points into a certain one of the 3, and if you stacked them multiples of that type in a gun, it gave you a buff, right? Like I hope that they rethink that through. They don't have to rename it. They don't necessarily have to even get rid of that, but make it more intuitive, make it more entertaining when you do it, make it feel like it's impactful. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That would be my complaint.
Damarco will be playing with himself soon. There was a chat from Bobby. Does DLC Old Blood count as a full game? No. There you go. Neither does Youngblood, because that game didn't happen. I really liked the upgrade system. I liked that the upgrade system in Wolfenstein 2 specifically. I don't remember 1 as much, but I liked that it was, hey, do these things with the gun, and then you sort of... Oh, that was the skills system, though, wasn't it? That wasn't the gun.
It wasn't the actual upgrades that you buy or whatever.
Right. I like that. I will say I loved that system where it was like you do these particular challenges and then you're like BJ levels up basically.
Guess what? That's Call of Duty.
Oh,
do all these things and you get a camo. If you could do 5 headshots with this gun, you get a special thing for it.
Yeah, until they made all the cool ones locked behind microtransactions. The ones you actually want.
That's not true. But they did lock them behind a lot of grind.
A lot
of grind.
But this actually gives you progression, right? So you could get extra throwing knives, or you get what is it? So something like simple things like quieter sneaking, faster movement while sneaking, right? Things of that nature. But I really liked. Yeah, I agree with Bobby. You keep my Wolfenstein away. You're dirty Call of Duty. I don't want that over here. Don't ruin a good thing that we got going.
Simmer down now. Simmer.
I really want to see them do more of the alternate timeline stuff. I think in Wolfenstein 1, that was absolutely brilliant. And I loved that aspect of the game. And I loved playing through the game multiple times. So I would like to see them do that. But instead of just having sort of one choice in the beginning, I want them to do like one choice here. And it doesn't have to be hyper expansive, right? It's a narrative-driven first-person shooter. So the narrative still has to take precedence. But I would like them to have a branching point here, and then that splits off in 2, and then another branching point here, and that splits out in 2. So basically, just go to like 6 different. At the end, you'll kind of just have 6 different things, which I think would be
story-wise.
Yeah, and then right, and it might change like the environments or the level design or what I liked about that first decision could be like the big one, right? So
I feel like that's a hard. I feel like it's a hard sell, though, because this is the end of the trilogy. You know what I mean? You could do that in like a middle game or a first game. But in the final game, you have to have something that encompasses the story and shuts it. You know what I mean? Closes all the things.
Well, it would close it for you, but it's open-ended as to which is like the canon. And they could still say this is a canon ending, right? They did that for... well, actually, they didn't do that. No, they didn't do that for Wolfenstein 2. Wolfenstein 2 takes into account what you did in Wolfenstein 1. So
I love those systems.
There wasn't a canonical...
Yeah.
I want to see them continue that, though.
Now you make me want to play those. You make me want to play those now. I love those games.
They're so
much.
good.
I really love those games.
Who did you pick the first time? Wyatt or Fergus in Wolfenstein 1?
I don't remember. Let me look up their pictures so I can.
Fergus was the
remember.
Irishman. Wyatt was the kid.
Oh, probably the Irishman.
I picked Wyatt my first time. I liked Fergus better.
Of course you did.
But I picked Wyatt because I was like, I can't. Fergus was okay with it. It's all right. Microsoft owns them both, so we can keep them even further away. Even though Microsoft owns them, we keep them far away, Jeremy. Far away. They don't touch. We get a poll, and if any of them come over, you hit back. I'm playing Chivalry with the polearm, so I'm good at stabbing things from a distance now.
I need to play that. I've never played that. I have it. I just never played it.
It's been super fun.
I've heard it's really good.
It's really, really fun. And you go in, oh my God, I was going in and I got a situation where it was me versus, and I'm not good at the game, but it was me versus like 3 guys, and I had a big axe, and I just got lucky, and I took a swing, and one guy's head goes, one guy, I get him right in the arm, that falls off, and then another guy, I just slash. The third guy I didn't kill, he ended up killing me, but when I just cleave through 2 of them, and I'm able to hit the third, and you're just like, screaming with your axe, and you just see like you're sprinting up. It's like all the best parts of Battlefield in a fantasy, in like a medieval game, and you're sprinting up, and the trebuchets firing catapults around, and they're just banging, bodies flying over the edge, and everybody's screaming. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So if Borderlands 4 has too many performance issues and you can't hop into it because it's just a miserable experience, hop over to Chivalry, because that one is optimized. Anything I got going on tonight, tomorrow, next week?
I think we're gonna stream tonight, eh?
Are we?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
Are we?
Yes. No. Yes.
Are we?
No. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We are.
Yeah. What we're gonna play, I don't think we know yet. But we'll do it. We'll play. Maybe we'll have a friend join us too. That would be fun. Maybe 2 friends. And then other than that, I made a video this week for 007 First Light. So it was just about the gameplay reveal, and I am working on a video for just kind of some overall information about the game as far as like the timeline and just interesting things that we know just kind of about IO and what's happening with it. And then I'm going to be streaming Animal Shelter 2 for sure this weekend.
Awesome.
I'm excited to play that game. Yeah.
Can't wait. And Arcane Realm, who normally stops by, but he's working currently, he just released a really interesting video on Blade, actually. He found some really cool stats in there that I thought were fascinating to see regarding sort of some of the budgets and the financial stuff. I thought it was really, really interesting, and he pulled those out. So if you're interested in the Blade game, definitely go check out Arcane Realm. If you're interested in 007, Holly's the one to go to. And if you're interested in RPGs, consider sticking around if you're catching this on the... what am I talking about? Nobody watches this on demand. Or no, new people watch this on demand, I should say. I know, actually. They do. Jeremy, I know, because Jeremy came on the last one. He left a comment, which was really appreciated, but nobody new watches these things. So, anyway, thank you all so much for being here. RSJ, thank you for stopping by. It's a pleasure to see you. I did not miss you, but I appreciate you hanging out tonight. It'll be just a minute. I don't know. Oh, Arcane is here. Hey, Arcane.
Yeah.
Thank Timmer, because he's the one who found all the stuff. But you did a fantastic... Timmer, thank you for finding the stuff. And Arcane, thank you for doing a great job conveying it in a really interesting way, because that was a good video. No, the video... I'm talking about the VODs for the podcast after the fact. Like, nobody knew. It's like, oh, there's podcasts on this? I'm going to check it out. It's just the nature of YouTube. But anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate all the time that you have hanging out with us. Go over to Holly's channel in just a bit to keep an eye out for whatever we're going to be streaming tonight, and enjoy your Idaho potatoes, your air fryers, and all that beautiful stuff. Thank you. This is live Thursday night from New York. It's the end of the show. Good night, everybody.